Okay everybody, let's get going. We're going to start with warming up our muscles and just having a bit of a stretch, especially when you've been in the house all day. It's really important to introduce your body slowly to exercise. I'm going to show you these exercises sat in a chair, if you need to do them in a chair, and also you can do them standing, no problem at all, and sometimes I'll show you an option for both, depending what works best for that exercise. So if you're doing them in a chair, just take your chair to get started. And the first thing we're going to do is really lovely stretch to do at any time of day as far as I'm concerned. You're just going to grab the back of the chair with your hands if that's okay for you. The lower you do it, the easier it's going to be. So find a level that works for you. And then you're going to squeeze your elbows together and push your chest forward. Just to feel a lovely stretch across your chest. And then relax. And then squeeze them together. And relax. And we'll just do 4 or 5 of these. I don't tend to count all that much during classes. I get distracted chatting to people usually. 1 more of those. Lovely. If you're doing this standing up, you would just put your hands somewhere on your body. Same principle. Exactly the same thing. Lovely. And then we're going to do an exercise again. You can do this standing if you like. I'll just shuffle around a bit so you can see. You're going to put your arms up like a big old cactus, and then you're going to swivel your arms down. So I'm trying to keep my elbows in the same position. There's a good click there from my shoulder. And rotate them around. So it doesn't matter how far your arms go. It's important that you try and find the edges of what you can personally manage. That's all we're concerned about. Now if you see me looking over to the side a lot, it's because my notes are on my computer. I've set this all up rather hastily, but I'm sure I'll learn week on week if I carry on doing these. So, ooh, nice bit of freedom in the shoulders. That was nice there. And we'll just do a little twist as well. Same thing using the chair. It's really helpful. I'll show you how to do it standing in a moment. So I'm going to take my right hand, put it on the left side of the chair. I'm going to hook my arm over the back if you can manage that. And then I'm going to squeeze myself around a little bit that way, but not too far. We don't want to stay in a stretch. We just want to move into it and then back out. Move in and back out just very gently. You could really force yourself with your arms, but you don't want to do that. 1 more this way and back. Awesome. Carry on doing that to the other side of the chair, or if you want to do the standing version, I'm going to use my left hand to grab my right hip as much as I can, and my right hand to grab my left hip, and I'm going to do the same thing. So just squeeze into that stretch a bit and then relax. I better go the other way or I'll be all wonky. Wonkier than I already am. You can do these as many times as feels good to you. Sometimes it's amazing how little we twist in a day, and then when you start twisting you think, oh, it's just so delicious. I want to carry on doing it for ages. So the next thing we're going to do is just a little bit of warming up for our legs, just to get them going. And you might not see this. This is like a full exercise depending on what state your current fitness is. I want you to just come down, sit on the chair, rest a second, and then come back up. So coming down onto the chair, nice and slowly, rest a second, and come back up just to get you started. If that's troublesome for you, as you come down, put your hands on the chair, but try not to get them to help you too much. Just as much as you need for your legs to pick up the slack, okay? If this is dead easy for you, and you are comfortable warming up by doing something a little bit harder, you can try coming down. You can just tap the seat with your bum and come back up. So you don't get that rest at the bottom then on the chair. Come down, tap the seat, and lift back up, okay? Either one, absolutely fine. And that will get your legs warmed up. Now, I've got to check my instructions. Also, anyone who's been to my classes will know I've got a brain like a sieve. So I look at it, I try and memorise it, and it's all gone 2 seconds later. We're just going to do a little hamstring stretch now. So sitting on your chair, I'll show you a standing one in a minute. Reach your feet out in front of you. You're going to fold yourself over. So you might find that's quite a challenge. If you can't fold your chest down to your thighs, you want to bend your legs back a little bit. So the straighter your legs are, the more of a hamstring stretch it is. And this is sort of my limit here with sort of quite straight legs perched on the edge of the chair. You can find your own. And again, move into the stretch, move out of it. Move in. Ooh, my chair's creaking. Move out. If you're doing a standing one, carry on doing that, guys, on chairs. So if you're doing the standing hamstring stretch, you're just going to have your feet kind of hip width apart. You're going to keep your legs straight and you're just going to lean yourself forward and up, okay? For as long as feels nice for you. I'm not fussy. Okay, the next exercise we're going to do is one of my favourites is knee hugs. Now you can do this holding on to the back of the chair for balance, or you can do this freestanding if your balance is really great, either way. So you're going to lift your knee up without using your hand. Then you're going to take your knee in your hand and squeeze it a little bit closer to you. Hold it there, let go, and then lower it. So I'm lifting it with the muscles, then I'm using my arm to squeeze it into its flexibility a little bit more. Letting go, and then lowering. Lift, squeeze, lower. Okay? Lift, squeeze, lower. Your knee might be here. That's not a problem. You could grab onto your trousers, grab the back of your thigh, anything like that at all. You'll have a little bit more range that way, and then you can lower it down. It's really great for your hips to do this. And down. So then we're going to do the other side. Lift, squeeze, lower. And you might notice a big difference between both sides. I love noticing things. My partner tells me off because I'm always saying, interesting, when he does stuff. What I mean is that I'm noticing something, taking note of it, and squirreling it away in my mind somewhere. And it's really good to get acquainted with your body's imbalances. Everybody has them. Just so you've got a bit more self-knowledge. It's very helpful. So now we're going to do some leg swings. You can stand sideways to the chair. You can stand this way. Your call. You're really loosely going to waggle your leg back and forth. So you're not trying to do some like woo high kick business. You're just loosely letting your hip joint relax. Let the muscles around it relax. Having a bit of a swing. You can do it both ways as well. Some of us swing both ways. You're going to get a lot of jokes like that, get used to it. Forward and back. And then your other leg. Same shizzle. And the other way. You're probably feeling a bit warmer by now. If you're not, that's fine. You can repeat any of the movements that you like. Everything's going to go quite gently. So, we don't have to get sort of excessively sweaty at any point. In fact, I try to avoid that in these sorts of classes at all costs, although it doesn't always work. That's the warm-up section done. So now we're going to move on to our main exercises. And again, you're not going to need anything except a chair. Okay, guys, so the first sort of main exercise that we're going to do today is something called a static lunge. You can do this without a chair or you can do it with the chair for balance, either way. You're going to put your legs into this it's called a split stance, and then you're going to lean the front leg forward and then back. I'm going to give you loads of options for these because for some people this is going to be way easy. For some people your knee is probably going to go, ah, what are you doing when you get to the front of this move? So guys doing it on the chair, I want you to do it until your leg feels pretty tired, and then you're going to switch legs. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. If you want something a bit more challenging, you can do a full lunge. So I'm going to start with my feet together. I'm going to take a step forward, lunge down, and then push back. Taking a step forward, lunging down, pushing back. So my finishing position is kind of like both legs are kind of at 90 degrees. Try not to be like this if you can avoid it. Try and have yourself your torso should be quite upright, and then you're going to spring backwards onto your feet. Sorry about the pole being in the way. I will work out a better studio scenario in the end. Again, maybe 10 or 12 on a leg. You should be feeling pretty tired. It might be 2, it might be 5. Since I can't chat to you guys, I can't know these things and I can't help you out, I'm afraid. So you need to really tune into yourself. It's like a practice, really. And remember to do both legs. So easy to forget. Just until your legs feel tired. Not till you're falling over, not till you can't do it in the same sort of shape. Just make sure you get a little bit burny in the thighs, okay? That's what we're looking for. Once those are done, the next exercise we're going to do, we need to do some pushing. Now, I've got a lot of options. I'm going to start with the easiest one. This is where the wall comes in, and I wish you could see me sideways. Don't know why that made me laugh. The first option is with the wall. So you're going to do push-ups, but on the wall. So I'm going to show you, a push-up looks exactly the same wherever you do it. And that's one of the best lessons I ever learned in fitness. If I do it on the wall, or if I do it on the floor, or if I do it with my feet on a chair, it doesn't matter. The basic thing looks the same. So you're going to start, I'll just do it stood up first. You're going to, so you can see me sideways. You're going to start in this position, arms out in front of you, and you're going to try and push your hands as far away from your body as you can. So I get a really rounded shape in my shoulders here, okay? And that's the top of a push-up in any position. Then you're going to try and squeeze your shoulders back so your hands come a lot closer to you. And then you're going to bring your hands all the way to your sides. That's the bottom of a push-up in any position, okay? Wherever you do it. The only thing that changes is the angle that my body is at. So I'm going to show you on the wall first. Your hands should, when you fold your hands up like this, where they naturally land is probably a good place for you. I'm going to stand here. I'm going to start in this position, kind of 90 degrees. Pretty much what I will do on the floor. And I bend my arms, come to the wall and come back. You might find yourself adjusting a lot. It's no problem, okay? Take your time, press pause, stop me talking and crack on. So, on the wall. Next level down. If that's too easy for you, if you can do like 10 like that, try something harder, okay? And that's also a great lesson in fitness. As soon as you can do 10 in a row, try something harder. That's basically what it boils down to. On the chair, you're going to have your hands slightly closer together. It's not the end of the world. So I'm holding on to the back of the chair, putting my arms out straight, lowering down, coming back up. Same sort of shape. The only slight difference here is my elbows have got to come out to the side a bit more because my hands are close together. These are surprisingly hard work. Wherever you are doing your push-ups, I want you to be aiming your chest between your hands. That's kind of where it should end up. If it's ending up like your face is between your hands, then your hips are too bent and your feet are too close to your hands. If it ends up with you hands up here somehow, which would be really hard, it means you're super strong. Well done. It means your feet are too far away. Okay. So the chair ones, same thing. Nice straight body shape. Bending down, coming to here. You can see where I'm going with this. So my hands are on the chair. I make my body in a nice straight line. I hope the chair stays still. I lower down, come down onto the chair, okay? However you need to hold your chair, it's fine. Last but not least, I'm going to show you on the floor. If there's anyone doing this on the floor, lovely strong push-up position, lowering down, coming back up. It's the same shape. I've just made it harder by putting less weight into my feet and more weight into my hands. Okay, for the next sort of main exercise we're going to do today, we are going to expand on the squats that we did in the warm-up. So just move the chair back a bit here. I promise I'll work out something to do about the pole. I don't know what yet. So if in the warm-up you found sitting down on the chair hard without falling, which looks like this, if you felt like you're going bump onto the chair, all I want you to do is use your hands to help you get up and practice slowing down the fall to the chair as best you can. And I only want you to do that until you can't stop yourself falling to the chair anymore. So when you reach the point where you're kind of getting halfway and then you very rapidly fall, it's time to stop, okay? If you can't manage that, then use your hands a little bit on the way down too. So as you come down, put your fingers on the chair, just slow yourself down. If you can manage those things, crack on with those while I'm talking to the others, okay? So what I want you to do, if those are too easy for you, is to try this version where you're tapping and coming up. And if that's too easy for you, you could just push the chair away, come down into a full squat and come up. It's another option. Going off the next edge of that, if that's too easy for you, because some of you will have crazy strong legs, you won't even know, then you'll try this and you'll be like, oh, actually, pretty good. The next thing you can do is practice coming down on one leg. It's great. So I'm going to lift the leg up. I'm going to lower myself down. Again, trying not to crash to the chair. Put the other foot on the floor, stand back up again. Okay? This is a progression on the way to a single leg squat. And it's a really great way to build a bit of strength here. down, like that. I wouldn't do enormously huge amounts of those because they're pretty hard. You probably want to do like 5 or 6. See how you go. Or just until you feel like your leg's getting shaky and a bit tired. So pick whichever one of those it is that you like doing. Sorry, that was a lot of options in one go, wasn't it? Press pause. Do those till your legs are tired, and then we'll carry on with the next exercise. So the next exercise is to work our back muscles. So when we were pushing, we were working muscles primarily on the front of our body. Now we've got to even it all out, work the ones on the back. And these are actually really hard to improvise at home, like really, really hard. And I've put a lot of thought into different options for you here. So I'm going to give you the first, like, seriously no equipment option for this. And then I will give you one with a little bit of equipment in it, okay? But it's equipment you've probably got. So the first thing I want you to do, I'm going to have to turn my back, sorry, is hold out your arms in front of you like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to push your arms out as far as you can. And as you go, you're going to squeeze your back muscles together. This is what it looks like from behind. So it's as if I was pulling something apart. You're really going to have to use your mind to imagine the thing that you're pulling if you're not actually pulling anything, and to work on really squeezing those muscles really hard. But it actually can be quite exhausting exercise, just imagining hard enough, because it helps your muscles to contract harder. We'll talk about that another day. Anyway, equipment-wise, a nice easy thing to add here would be something like a scarf, or a pair of trousers, which is what I'm going to do it with, something along those lines. It doesn't even necessarily need to be stretchy, it needs to give you something to work against, that's all. So let me just grab my trousers. Okay, just like a normal pair of trousers, there's nothing special going on. So I'm going to put my hands shoulder width apart, and then I'm going to pull out as hard as I can. So all it means is there's something to stop them moving. So with the first variation, where we weren't holding anything, we had nothing to stop them moving, so our arms moved all the way out to the side. This time my arms can't move, so they've got something to strain really hard against to try moving, and it won't work. It's actually pretty exhausting. So as many of these as you can do before you think, I really want to put my arms back down now, and then have a little rest, okay? So those are the 4 main exercises we're going to cover today. We did the lunges, or the static lunges, holding the chair. We did the push-ups, maybe on the wall, maybe on the chair, maybe on the floor, depends what level you're at. We did squatting to the chair, so many variations, pick your poison. And we did, these are called pull-aparts, so either with nothing in our hands at all, or we were pulling on a pair of trousers. Now, you can choose how many times you do those things. In a class, I would normally do 2 to 3 rounds of those exercises, but I don't know your level and I can't talk to you or ask you any questions about it, sadly. So I'm going to let you choose. If you've just done them while I was talking and you're flipping knackered, then don't do any more. Because tomorrow your muscles, if they're not used to this level of exercise, they might be a bit sore, and we don't want to make that any worse. If you're used to exercising a lot, then maybe do a 2nd round or a 3rd round. You're going to know your body better and know what you're able to do. We are going to do some more exercises now, but they're more about working on like your core muscles, which is not just these guys, by the way, it's also all of this as well. And we're also going to do some sort of mobility work, so things that are going to work towards improving the health of your joints. If this was enough for you, stop here, listen to your body and respect what it's saying to you. But we'll move on to the next section, the mobility and core section now, and you can decide whether you want to carry on or not. Okay, see you in a moment. Okay guys, so we're going to do the core section of our workout. Your core is everything from here, it's basically everything that isn't your limbs. That's the easiest way to think about it. People often neglect various bits of their core, including their lower back muscles, their glutes, the side arse, as I like to call it, which is an important part. And we're just going to do a little bit of work on those parts today. Maybe I'll do a whole side arse video one day. That would make me giggle. Okay, the first exercise we're going to do, I'm going to show you the seated version, then the standard version, okay? The seated version of this is really straightforward. It's called a good morning. You can, I'm going good morning, like this. So you're going to have your knees apart, you're going to be looking forward, trying to keep your back nice and straight, leaning forward, and lifting yourself back up. If that feels too easy, reach your arms out in front of you. Ignore my creaking chair. And if that feels too easy, you can try straightening your legs a little bit too. which just makes it a little bit harder. And if all of that is too easy, please do the standing version. Just sort of slightly wide apart legs, keeping your legs nice and straight and your back nice and straight, reaching forward, squeezing up. So you can see I'm putting extra muscle tension. I don't need that much muscle tension to come up, but I'm trying to squeeze my hips forward as much as I can at the top of the movement. Again, if it's too easy for you, you can try reaching out in front of you. You could hold something in your hands. I'll do another video that's about improvising equipment around the house. Again, just doing this until you start to feel a bit fatigued around the lower back or your bum. If your lower back is hurting, it's probably because the muscles are working, because the feeling of them working often feels quite like it, discomfort does. Just take it nice and gently, but make sure you're not letting your lower back curl round like this. So it doesn't look like this, it looks like this. Even if your range of motion is tiny, so even if you go from here to like here and then back up, you want to work on keeping your torso straight and exercise those muscles, make them stronger. The next exercise we're going to do is a knee lift. So I love these. These are quite hard, even if you're quite fit actually, and there's a lot of ways to make them harder. So if you're doing it on a chair, you're going to put your hands on the edge of the chair to support you. You can start by just lifting one knee and lifting the other knee, really squeezing it in as hard as you can. You could progress to doing both knees at once, a lot harder. And you could also stretch your legs out and lift them up, very hard as you can tell. My legs don't go very far. And if you want to get all fancy pants on it, you can lift yourself up on the chair. Much harder. Standing version, obviously you have to do one leg at a time. Lifting the knee up, squeezing and putting it down. Trying not to go like this to get your knee to your chest. It's not about that, it's about how high you can lift this knee without your torso moving. You could also do that with a straight leg or a nearly straight leg to make it a bit harder. It's up to you. Again, do this until you're probably going to feel it the most here. Do it until that bit starts to hit you. And then have a rest, okay? The next thing we're going to do is some nice straightforward oblique work. Your obliques around the side of your body, and they work a lot when you're twisting. They do other stuff too, but that's one of the main things. And we're just going to have a little go doing it in a chair. Put your arms behind your head, and then you're going to take one elbow to the opposite knee, or as close as you can get. So even if what this looks like for you is this, no problem at all, okay? Or you might go a bit deeper, like this. You can also do a standing version of this, where you get to do some balancing. Love a bit of balancing. You can see I'm not very good at it. So if you want to work on your balance, see, you can practice this version, okay? Whichever one. That's the end of our little core section. The next thing we're going to do is mobility. So if you feel like you've got a little bit more work left in you, you can do the mobility section. If not, sit down, have a cup of tea, congratulate yourself on being a movement badass in these strange times we find ourselves in. And I'll see you in a moment if you're joining me for the mobility section. Thank you. Okay guys, we're here for the last section of our workout today, which is kind of some mobility and gentle stretching work, just to keep you moving while you're in the house. The first thing that we're going to do is a middle split. I can't do a middle split. It's a standing version of a middle split, but it works some of the same muscles, and it's really helpful because it's not a direction we move in very often. If you can't stand this far apart, that by all means just start wherever feels like the widest apart you can stand. If you want to hold on to the back of the chair, that's absolutely fine too. This exercise is hilarious because you don't look like you're doing anything, but it's actually really hard. And I love ones like that. So take your legs as wide apart as you can kind of comfortably take them. And then what you're going to do is squeeze your thighs together like you're trying to crush the floor together with your mighty thighs. Oddly hard work. And I just want you to hold this for as long as it feels safe and comfortable to do so. So you don't have to like completely crush the floor, though it is fun, or imagine that you're crushing the floor. But you're getting a gentle squeeze, so as though I'm dragging my feet towards each other. And as anyone who is joining me right now in this moment doing this will know, it's a really strong exercise for your inner thighs. Interesting in the groin, what can I say? And works a lot of muscles that often get neglected. So it's a good one to add in, but it doesn't feel like we're doing very much, you know? Hanging out, chatting, squeezing our thighs together. When you feel like you've had enough of that, you're probably going to have to like waddle your feet in and then give your hips a little shimmy. It's much better. In fact, the next exercise we're going to do involves a bit of hip shimmying, so that'll help to ease you up after that. So again, comfy sort of stance. You can't really do this in a chair, but if you're feeling like wobbly, then you can hold on to a chair for balance. And then what you're going to do is put your hips in as big a circle as you can manage. Really feel it out. So you see a lot of people going like, like this, like not really thinking about it. You can get loads out of this exercise by just putting some care and intention into it. So I'm going to send my hips as far back as I can with a straight leg. As far to this side, as far forward, as far to that side, and as far back. And it's an amazing stretch for all sorts of muscles. A very funny lady in one of my classes once made some sort of joke about it's as if you're weeing in the snow and you're trying to draw as big a circle as possible. Yes, it made me giggle anyway. Okay. We're going to go the other way. Oh yeah, I just switched directions and forgot to tell you. So really feel it. You might find one direction feels completely different to another one. One of my hips clicks in this direction, but it doesn't click in the other direction. Feels very odd. Ooh, absolutely delicious. Okay, once you've done same-ish number of those to each side, maybe if you've got a more crunchy side like me, do a few more on that side because that's the one that needs it. And then the next thing we're going to do is another sort of kind of stretch thing with our legs wide apart. It's helpful to have a chair for this one, but I will show you it without the chair too. So again, putting your legs as wide apart as you can manage, and then poking your bum out so you're trying to keep your back straight. This is why it's helpful to lean on the chair. Get yourself in as far forward a position as you can and just hang out. This is like a really nice stretch. If you want to do this without a chair, and you can support yourself on the floor, you're probably more bendy than me. There's some of you who go to yoga and stuff who can get their elbows down. Straight legs, whatever your position is, even if you're here, doesn't matter. The only person you can exercise is you, so you have to work to your limits. Lush. Really, really delicious stretch to finish things off with. Well, we're not quite finished, we've got a couple more. We're also going to do a very funny thing, it's quite hard to do, rib cage circles. So I want you to put your hands on your hips, and I first of all want you to think about pushing the middle of your back that, as far that way as you can, middle of your rib cage. And then you're going to try and send it off to one side, and then forward, and then the other way. Tricky, but it feels really nice. Make sure you go the other way. You could do this sat in a chair. It's a little bit harder, but we're trying to make sure that nothing south of my hands is involved. Ooh, that was lovely. So we're just going to do some really basic stretches for our arms now because we worked our arms so hard earlier on. The first one is putting one arm across your body, squeezing it with the other one. It feels really nice. Squeeze the upper part of your arm, not the lower part of your arm. Just gently getting a stretch at the back of the shoulder. Feels good. Other side. Amazing. Now we've got to make sure that we stretch our chest out a little bit because of all the push-ups you did earlier. So you're going to join your hands behind your back and lift them up. So if even that's hard for you, that's cool. That means you're stretching across here. So if you can lift them up a little bit, lift them up. Give them a lovely stretch. Take some nice deep breaths. Congratulate yourself for everything you've managed to do. It's hard getting our head around difficult times, and it's harder still to keep going with daily life. It's harder still when daily life can't go on. You have to come up with new ideas. Give your shoulders a bit of a roll. And we're done. congratulations everybody for whatever it is that you've managed today. And I hope you've enjoyed this short period of activity, breaking up your day a little bit. If you'd like me to make more videos, I would really love to hear from you in the comments, or you can message me directly if you follow me on Instagram or anything along those lines. Like most PTs and other people in my field, I'm also a massage therapist, so I can't work on that side of my business at all. These are interesting times, and we're all struggling in our own ways to work out how to change our businesses, our self-employed businesses, so that we can carry on. I'm not in the worst straits, which is why I am making this video available for free. But if you have enjoyed it and you feel moved to make a donation to my PayPal, I would appreciate that too, because it will encourage me and it will enable me to keep going in the long term, and that is priceless to me. If you'd like to make a donation, then my PayPal is fitswansea, so f.it.swansea@gmail.com. It should be at the bottom of the screen as well. And there'll also be a link wherever this video appears, so you'll be able to see what those details are. And if you want to get in touch with me and just tell me how it went, I would love to hear from you. I'm desperately missing seeing my clients face to face, and I would love to make friends with you. Thanks for joining.